mean, did I lock him inside his cage like a dog? Yes, I did. Oh, in the area, I mean? Like a dog? Yes. Alright, it's hot. So today's gonna be fun. You ready?
Yes, sir.
It's Professor, so.
Oh, yes, Professor, sir.
Any questions? No
I'm
questions?
trying to make one up for the people.
You broke. You broke. Take it.
That was a good question.
Take it. Thank you.
No questions. None. Zero.
I got one.
What can we do?
You say you got one?
Can you go right again?
Huh?
Right.
Writ?
Writ. Yeah.
W-R-I-T?
Yeah.
A writ is a command. So when you write a writ to the court or to anyone, you're commanding them to do something. So in our writs to the courts, when we command them to do things, we command them to do things based on the Constitution and decisions made by other judges. That's what a writ is.
And there's like, is there like a kind of like a guideline how to?
Yeah, just like you write an essay. So you have your thesis or what you want them to do. Then you have your, your cited points, which is your res judicata. And then you have your conclusion, which is saying you have to do this because of what I just said. That's basically it. That's basically how everything is written. You know what I mean? Same thing with affidavits and things like that. Same thing with judicial notice. So when you use res judicata and you reference the Constitution and like historical events, that is called judicial notice. So judicial notice is basically something that does not need to be argued. Like if I say today's Sunday, I don't need to prove that. It's Sunday. You know what I mean? That's judicial notice. So an example of a writ, right? If you're at state court and you know that you're not a citizen of the state of Rhode Island, which means your case cannot be litigated in state court, you would send them a writ of removal, also known as a notice of removal, because you're giving them judicial notice and commanding them to remove the case from state court to federal court based off of several things, whether it be raising the federal question by asking or challenging the constitutionality of the state court's actions, or specifying that there's some type of diversity and or enforcing a treaty. Any other questions?
Can I use one of your books?
I prefer not, so that was the imprints on the book. These are no questions? All right, so today we're going to go over the amendments of the Constitution, which is also referred to as the Bill of Rights. And then we're going to go over the supremacy of the Constitution. And I'm going to start by saying, who here hates paying toll taxes? Raise your hand if you hate it. Would you believe me if I told you that you didn't have to pay toll taxes?
Yeah, I believe that shit.
All right, here's why. Here's why. we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to read Article 6 of the Constitution. Article 6, Section 1 is where I'm going to stop right now. So Article 6, Section 1 specifies that all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation. So, when was the Constitution written or ratified?
1791.
1791. So before that, there was the Articles of Association and Articles of Confederation. So now remember they said all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against the United States as under the Confederation. So let's read the Articles of Confederation, because that's what they reference, right? And this is a contract or a debt or an engagement that they entered into, right? Before the adoption of the Constitution, right? So this is part of the Constitution. Did you know that? No, you did not. Let's read Article 4. To better secure and perpetrate mutual friendship and intercourse among the people of the different states in this union, the free inhabitants, they don't say citizens, right? It says free inhabitants. They don't say slaves, right? It says free inhabitants of each of these states, paupers, vagabonds, and fugitives from justice, expected shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of free citizens in the several states, which means whichever rights apply to you in your state, apply to you in every other state. So when they talk about, license to carry, and they talk about reciprocity, that's already a thing. It's just the people don't know that. And of course, Article 4, Section 1. And the people of each state shall have free ingress and regress to and from any other state. So when it says you have free ingress and regress, that's entry and exit to any other state. So why are you paying taxes? Because a toll is a tax. Get it? Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation specify that the people have a right, R-I-G-H-T, to free, which means you don't pay anything, regress and ingress, which is entry and exit, into every other state. So doesn't that mean you're not obligated to pay toll tax?
I just got one of them yesterday.
And shall enjoy therein all the privileges of trade and commerce, subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectively, provided that such restrictions shall not extend so far as to prevent the removal of property imported into any state to any other state, of which the owner is an inhabitant, provided also that no imposition, duties, or restrictions shall be laid by any state. Provided that also no imposition, duties, or restrictions shall be laid by any state. So why are you paying toll tax? Because you don't know. And then Jesus said what? My people perish by the day for the lack of what? Knowledge. Any questions on that? Simple, right?
So when they send in the request for some money, you just write on.
Ask them questions. Where in the Constitution does it say I'm obligated to pay you toll tax? Also, are you aware that by sending me this, you're violating the Constitution? Article 6, and then reference this, and then show them that. I have the right to free ingress and regress. Are you depriving me of that right under color of law? Question mark. And then what you're also supposed to do is notify your city solicitor, because guess what their job is? To protect the city legally. So if you're a citizen of a city, that's your solicitor. And if enough people are complaining that they're being taxed, well, then they go to their attorney general of the state. But most people don't do that, do they? They march, pray, scream, and burn down other people's property, and then go home, and then still pay taxes.
They pay the ticket and they complain. Exactly.
Why not get the Attorney General involved? Isn't he supposed to protect the state? Isn't the state the people? Why not get the city solicitor involved? Isn't he supposed to protect the city legally? Aren't the citizens the city? Talk to your councilman and councilwoman. Hey, why am I paying taxes if the Constitution says this? And then the Constitution says any law of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So what are we doing here? Because remember, the governor appoints the person in charge of the Department of Transportation. And when you get your little invoice in the mail, who's that from? The Department of Transportation. So the governor is directly responsible. Any questions? Simple, right? What you gonna say?
Well, I'm just gonna say what do we need to do? I'm sure you
Organize.
guys
Excuse me.
already know.
What do you say?
Yeah, that was the question and that's the answer.
Because if we all organize, right? Let's say all of us, plus all the people out here last week and the week before, plus all the other people I know. We go to City Hall, we want to talk to the city solicitor, like, why are we being taxed? If Article 13, Section 5 says you can't do that. And we're there every day until we get answers,
You
they're
don't
not going to
think-
like that.
Yeah, 20 of us show up to the city council person's office, they have to answer us. It's literally their job.
And don't the councilmen and women say, well, my constituents, I have to answer to my constituents, right? They like to throw these big words and phrases, right? Okay, well, if I'm your constituent, that means you answer to me because I put you in office, so why am I paying taxes? Which, you know what I mean? They're not going to give you direct answers. And if they do, I'd be very surprised. Which is also another reason why we need to put someone in office that has these values. That can, alleviate the tax burden on our people. Right? So, I continue with Article 6, Section 2. This Constitution, right? So we already established that everything under the First Continental Congress and the Second Continental Congress, also known as the Confederation, is part of this Constitution. Right? We already established that Article 6, Section 1. Now, Article 6, Section 2 is specifying that this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators, this is Article 6, Section 3, the senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers both of the United States and the several states shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. So, when we question the city councilmen and women or the mayor about this document, don't they take an oath to this? So shouldn't they be able to give us an answer as to why their citizens are paying the Department of Transportation for something they don't have to pay for? Same thing on the General Assembly level, right? The House of Representatives and the senators of the state of Rhode Island, they should have the answer to this too, right? Same thing to all the judges of the 6th District Court and the Rhode Island Superior Court, right? So why is it that the protesters aren't speaking to these people? Right, let's just put out a proposition, right? Or a preposition, whatever.
Proposition.
A word. Let's throw out a scenario. Right? All the people that want to defund the police, why aren't they talking about taxes?
Right.
And how the people should just stop paying taxes? Because don't the police get funded by taxes? So I already showed you how toll tax is unconstitutional, right? Which you weren't here. Article 6 of the Constitution specifies that all debts and contracts entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against the United States as under the Confederation. Articles of Confederation, Article 4, specifies that the people have the right to free ingress and regress into every other state. So toll taxes, we shouldn't be paying. All right, so that's one tax, toll tax, right? So you want to go to New York? You want to go to New Jersey, Mass, Maine, New Hampshire, Florida, California? You shouldn't be paying toll taxes, right? Why?
Because it's yeah.
Based on what?
The Article 6, Section Article 4.
Of what?
Of the Articles of Declaration.
Articles of Confederation. Articles of Confederation.
Articles of Confederation.
Right? So that's toll tax, right? The same people that want to defund the police should be talking about taxes, right? That's one tax, toll tax. What about excise car tax? Remember we went over that? Remember?
Yep.
Which document specifies that you shouldn't be paying the city excise car tax? Close. Which constitution?
For the state and the Constitution.
Specify which articles of the state constitution.
No, I'm gonna guess.
Article 13, Section 5. Article 13, Section 5 of Rhode Island State Constitution specifies that nothing in that document grants any city or town the power to levy, assess, or collect taxes unless authorized by the General Assembly. So that's toll tax and excise car tax that the people should not be paying. Right? What about income tax? Because the same people that say defund the police should be talking about these issues, right? What about income tax?
It's just another tax.
So what could you reference to specify that we shouldn't have to pay that?
Article 4, Section 1.
Based on what?
Because they asked me for Federal Reserve notes anyways, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, but how is that related to Article 4, Section 1?
might be wrong article. Hold on, let me, is it 8 section, is it article,
You're right with the 8.
Is it 8?
Section 8 of Article 1. Article 1, Section 8 specifies the power of Congress to collect taxes. So now, Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution specifies Congress can collect taxes, right? So does IRS spell Congress?
I didn't close.
Then, House Resolution 25, right? Fair Tax Act of 2019, introduced to the floor of Congress in 1999, specified that income taxes are what?
Voluntary.
Close. Unfair,
Inequitable.
inequitable, has a disproportionate impact on lower income Americans,
And it retards economic growth.
retards economic growth, impedes upward social mobility, destroys jobs, causes unemployment.
So that is specifying income, not wages or
Yeah.
salary.
But most people think that what they do at work is income and not wages. So they volunteer to have it taxed. Right? So then people are going to say, well, House Resolution 25 is just a bill, it was never passed. Okay, well, what about the Code of Federal Regulations? Write this down. So 26 CFR 601.602A specifies that the taxes or the tax system is based on voluntary compliance. So, if these people want to quote unquote defund the police, why aren't they talking about toll tax, excise car tax, and income tax? Who here is affected by income tax? Who here is affected by excise car tax? Who here is affected by toll tax? Okay, who has family members that are affected by income tax? Who here who has family members affected by excess car tax? Who here has family members affected by the toll tax or income tax? How many of the protesters that are talking about defunding the police, how many of them do you think are affected by income tax?
All of them. Everybody is regardless.
How many of them do you think are affected by excise car tax? All of them that have cars. How many of them do you think are affected by
They even have a car.
toll tax? All of them that travel. Get it? Any questions on that so far? Ask your city councilmen and women about these different things. And then you'll see why we need a more in office. Because they're not going to give you a straight up answer. They won't. Ask them. Prove me wrong, please. All right, so now I want to go over the Bill of Rights. What's the First Amendment about?
Freedom of speech.
What else?
The right to petition the government.
What else?
Peaceful gatherings.
Free press.
Free press. I'm going to read it. The First Amendment specifies that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Any questions on that? So when they say go in your house because of COVID, what are they doing? Violating your First Amendment right to peaceful assembly. When they say shut down your business because of COVID, what are they doing? Violating your First Amendment right to peaceful assembly. When they block your posts on Instagram, what are they doing? Violating your right to free speech and freedom of the press. Go ahead.
I've seen certain buildings or businesses that have a sign where it says you must wear a mask, and very seldom they have it when it says they try to put like some numbers as if it was like an actual law that got passed.
It's not.
Would that be like something that they just threw on there but can't really be enforced, or is just...
I mean, they're going to enforce it because they have the manpower to do it, but it's not a law.
Yeah, it's an ordinance.
It's a color of law. Also, if there was a real pandemic, there would have been homeless people found dead everywhere, which there wasn't.
Just common sense, like it is. What about the people who can't afford to do none of that, staying in the house or replacing the mask every day or whatever it is? Like, I ain't seen no bodies on the sidewalk.
Me either.
You don't remember in the beginning it was filming people dropping dead in the street? And they kept playing that shit over and over again?
Who here knows what the Second Amendment's about?
Bearing arms.
What else?
Militia.
What else?
Security of the people.
Security of the people, right? Yeah. So the Second Amendment specifies that a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, what are they telling you in this sentence?
They're telling you that without people bearing arms, it's necessary for a free state to exist. People have to be willing to defend it.
Facts. So, if there aren't people bearing arms, there's no such thing as a free state. That's what this is saying. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The word state means people. The word state, by definition, is a group of people bound together by common law, occupying a fixed territory. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So now, everyone pull their phones out.
So we're talking about something that we must do instead of just have the option.
It is a necessity,
Yes.
according to the founding fathers. George and them.
Yeah.
George and the gang. All right, so Google search
She's quite excited.
United States District Court of California. I know it's a lot. United States District Courts of California overturns assault weapons ban.
CACD.uscourts.gov.
Click on that, see what it says. You want to read it out loud? Look at my chubby girl. So chubby. Huh? Yeah, there's an actual court case too where it's from the court itself. Found it? Who found it?
Yeah, they put up a whole bunch of
Bullshit, right?
yeah, they put up a whole bunch of like
Yeah, it's mad shit.
confusion and shit.
Yeah, get that.
So if you click on one, if you just Google search So this is from oag.ca.gov, California Department of Justice. The case is, one second.
I got CNN right here.
No, don't say that. The case is Miller versus Bonta, B-O-N-T-A. Case number, you don't have to write the case number down, but for the record, case number 19, which means from 2019, dash CV, which means civil, dash 1537, dash BENJLB. And this is from the United States District Court, Southern District of California, filed 6/4/21, document 115. Decision. 1. Introduction. Like the Swiss Army knife, the popular AR-15 rifle is a perfect combination of home defense weapon and homeland defense equipment. Good for both home and battle. The AR-15 is a kind of versatile gun that lies at the intersection of the kinds of firearms protected under District of Columbia versus Heller. Notice how they're using res judicata, right? And this is from the federal courts. So if they use res judicata, what do you think we should be using? Res judicata. Article 4, Section 1. And United States versus Miller. Yet the state of California makes it a crime to have an AR-15 style rifle. Therefore, this court declares the California statutes to be unconstitutional. Who else banned assault rifles? New York.
Yeah.
So guess what all the people of New York can use?
AR-15.
This case.
And AR-15.
Wow.
Why? Why? Because of Article 4, Section 1, full faith and credit, and Article 6, Section 3 and 2. All of the state officials, all of the judges, all of the executive people, all of the legislators, all the governors and general assemblies, and all these people take an oath to this document. So if the federal court is saying that California can't do it, what does that mean for every other state in their union?
Nobody can do it.
No one can do it. So New York can't have a ban on assault rifles anymore based on this case. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Banning anything is an infringement. Which is why I think it was like a year earlier, they also declared the magazine capacity ban unconstitutional. So guess where else that applies to? Massachusetts. Based on what? Article 4, Section 1. And what? Article 6, Section 1, 2, and 3. Tracking?
Yes.
Sure, any questions on that? Simple, right? Stupid easy. Stupid, easy,
So, with
dumb
that-
easy.
So that's basically, that basically goes back into the fact that like all states have to respect. The fact that it's a
Article
union.
4, Section 1.
Right, it's a union.
I mean, they don't though, because they keep, just because California banned it and it's unconstitutional and they overturned it doesn't mean other states are gonna follow suit. Until people
They're supposed to.
organize, but until people organize, unfortunately, get together and petition the government, hey, this is unconstitutional, it's gonna stay the same in other places.
They're probably just gonna drag our argument for as long as they can.
Of course. Which is why we need people in office.
I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
It seemed like when like situations like this happen for like other nations,
Yeah.
they actually use the situation to like
Res
to make
judicata?
res judicata.
Yeah.
Right.
They enforce it, yeah.
So it's like I don't know, maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, but those people are like taught at an early age, like this is the document that you enforce. You know what I mean? We're not taught anything about the Constitution except that it exists. We know nothing about it other than that. You know, but that's deliberately done. Right? It also specifies the Second Amendment elevates above all interests the right of law-abiding, responsible citizens to use in defense of heart and home. The Supreme Court clearly holds that the Second Amendment protects guns commonly owned by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes. At the same time, the Second Amendment confers an individual right to keep and bear arms that have some reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. So is this my opinion? Is this jamalsbelief.com? Is this on riseofthemoors.org? Is this mychristianfaith.meetup.com, .christiansonly.web?
No.
Right, and if you scroll down to page 94 of this document, it specifies that this is from the Honorable Robert T. Bentez, United States District Judge, date ordered June 4th, 2021. So now, do you think the media is going to post this on CNN and channel whatever the fuck and all this crap?
It's on CNN right here.
It is?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
On TV?
No,
Or an article that no one reads?
most definitely.
Yeah. New York Times, Washington.
It say live TV at the top. Hold on.
If it's Europeans making this thing, check.
Probably at 2 a.m.
2 a.m. PBS?
I mean, yes, it really just comes down to the
people enforcing it?
yeah, it really just comes down to people basically believing it enough to stand on it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what's there to
Do you
believe?
trust this ice enough to walk on it?
But what is there to believe?
That's the thing. People will deny anything.
All right, Third Amendment.
It's easier to deny it than to.
No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizure shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Any questions on that? So can the police just walk in here and start saying, hey, you have to let us in? No? Why? I just read
No.
it. Because we have the Fourth Amendment right to privacy. Or we have the Fourth Amendment right to the security of a person, papers, and effects. And you can't come in here without a warrant signed by a judge, clearly specifying the things to be searched, the person to be seized, etc. All right, so if the police come to your house and they say, we have a warrant, and the warrant only specifies that they can search the first floor, can they go in your basement? No. Can they go in your attic? No. If the warrant says we're here for Bob, and Bob ain't there, can they take you? No. If they show up to your house and they say they have a warrant, you have to see it, they don't have it, should you let them in?
No.
Why?
Because they ain't got what they supposed to have.
Based on what?
The Constitution.
Which is what?
The supreme law of the land.
Oh. So is that my ideology? Is that my personal belief? No, it's not. I was born in 1992. This was written in, or ratified in 1791. So this was here before any of us in this room. Any questions on that? Any questions? So now, if you are in a court, if you're in a situation where you're in court, right, and they searched all your shit and stole all your shit, and they didn't have a warrant, guess what your argument can be? This case must be dismissed for violation of my right to due process because the police did not have a warrant. And guess what the judge has to do? Rule in your favor. Why? Because they take an oath to this, not to that cop.
Let's say should instead of have.
No, they have to.
But they don't.
No, but it doesn't matter if they don't. They have to.
Alright, I got a question on that too. I can't think of the exact name of the case law right now, but it's when the judge acts basically beyond his jurisdiction,
Yep.
it's treason. It's an act of treason. So wouldn't it just be basically, but at the same time, the treason is defined as two people admitting to the same overt act?
That's conspiracy. In order to be charged with treason, 2 or more people have to bear witness against you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if all of us start saying, well, these judges are committing treason against the United States
Right. But like,
by violating the Constitution, which affects every single one of us, well, then they should be hung.
Alright.
That's the law.
Right. So for example, let's say if you go into
Not my laws, by the way.
right, if you go into any court that's not a federal court, the judge is as soon as he see you walk in there with your feds on, he's supposed to dismiss it off of that because he deemed to know the law. Once
Yes.
you come in there and you displaying you from a different nationality. So
Yeah.
basically, once they go on further from that, right? So let's say you go to court, you bring 2 people with you. So basically, as soon as he start acting beyond his plan, you like these 2 people just blurt out whatever the case law is, right? That he committed treason. So it's like, would that be basically would that be like evidence for treason?
Absolutely, but you just always just take a camera in and record that shit. I mean, they suggest you turn it off, but
Yeah.
you have the right to freedom of press. But there's multiple things that we could do. You know what I mean? It just would be easier if we did it organized together as a group or a community instead of as individuals.
I mean,
Because if we find out which judge is violating which more, we can find out where they live and be at their house every day saying, hey, why are you violating this person? They're not going to like that.
would that be
That's petitioning the government for grievances.
but how would you basically address a judge? For example, if a judge did, like I said, act beyond his jurisdiction, committed treason, we got 2 people there to
Yeah.
I mean, these people still not going, like I said, so what would you do? Like,
You're supposed to go to federal court.
Right, so me and him, like they said, me and him was a witness to him basically doing whatever it was. So me and him would go down to the federal building and basically file a lawsuit or treason?
That's what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're supposed to accept that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're supposed to do.
But so, I mean, because once you do it in their federal courts, it's basically not really up to them, but they pick and choose on what it is that they
Oh, absolutely.
what they respect. So
Absolutely.
so wouldn't we go to a national
Well, we're supposed to have our own
Consulate-
courts. But you're talking about like larger issues. We don't even have a local community. You know what I'm saying?
Alright.
So you're talking about shit that we can't even do yet. You're right. We're supposed to have our own courts. We're supposed to take them to our courts, issue our own warrants. But look how many people are in this room. And then go out there and ask people their nationality, and then you tell me if we can do that. You know what I'm saying? So you're absolutely right on what we're supposed to do, how things are supposed to be. But look around.
Oppression.
You know, I mean, this is where we're not supposed to be delusional and expect that these people that have been knowingly, intentionally, and willingly violating this are all of a sudden going to say, you know what, you got a fez on, so don't worry about it, you're good. That's not how criminals work, right? So, Article 5.
I just also feel like that ain't never happened. I just
What?
feel like it's like the whole process of them dumbing people down so that nobody really realizes this is how you're supposed to handle the situation.
Yeah.
So I feel like once it does happen, like I said, even if it is just one person that does, like once they realize, okay, at least this one person is on the path to, you know what I'm saying, doing whatever it is that's supposed to be done. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, once they identify that person, then they invoke, the FBI COINTELPRO and they start threatening those people and, propaganda campaign against those people and things like that. They're not about to just let it slide, you crazy? We're the only people that let shit slide when other people do it to us, you know what I mean? Article 5. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So, if you go to court and the judge says, innocent until proven guilty, and you go to jail, what did they just do?
Violated your rights due process.
They deprive you of your life and liberty. Based on what?
Article 6.
Fifth Amendment. Close. Fifth Amendment. Because due process of law would be you would have to go to a trial or be found guilty and then go to jail, right? So why are they sending people to jail before they go to court? Before trial? Because they're criminals, exactly. They say, yeah, we'll send you to jail, and if you want to get out, your family got to give us 2 G's. What's that? Extortion. But no, they say, oh no, it's bail. What is it really? Extortion. Ransom. Human trafficking. Rape. You're right.
Did it say that you need to have a jury to be convicted of a capital offense?
It says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury.
Or grand jury?
Grand jury. Except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia. So that's the Uniform Code of Military Justice. When in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So if they tow your car, what do they owe you?
Just compensation.
Just compensation. What do they give you? A bill.
Complete opposite.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Sixth Amendment. In all, does it say some? In all, does that say some?
Nope.
Sometimes? In all criminal prosecutions, all of them. All of them. All of them. All of them. Some of them? No. All of them, right? In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial. How long is a speedy or public trial?
70 days.
Based on what?
Right to due process.
Act of Congress.
Act of Congress. I don't remember.
I think it's 1974.
1974. That's
Speedy Trial Act. 70 days upon indictment. So why are people sitting, first of all, in jail before trial, 4 or 5 years until they get trial? Don't they have the constitutionally secured right to speedy trial? Don't they? Which is 70 days, right? What's going on?
They don't know.
Who don't know?
The people whoever getting finessed.
Don't the judges know?
Yeah, the judges.
So aren't they responsible? Right? Doesn't the Attorney General know? So ain't he responsible? He or she? Which means all the state prosecutors are responsible, right?
Yeah.
The bailiffs take an oath to the Constitution, don't they? The police take an oath to the Constitution, don't they? The military takes an oath to the Constitution, don't they? Against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right?
Yeah.
So if people are rotting in jail before trial, their right to speedy trial is being violated. Aren't all persons involved domestic enemies? So how come the military is not involved? I was a Marine. I take an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. When I got out, that never changed. So why am I the only person telling you this shit?
All motherfuckers can sold their souls.
Or they don't think for themselves.
Or that.
Because I can tell you right now, I took an oath to the Constitution, didn't even fucking read it. I know people still in, my boys, re-enlisted, didn't even read it. So how would they know who's a domestic enemy and who's not?
You know?
They don't. You think the police know?
Yeah, they know.
Some of them know.
They know.
Some of them know.
They can't.
You get what I'm saying?
They jump in.
So if y'all got family members that's active duty or reservists, weekend warrior, whatever they are, ask them, do you know that the 6th Amendment guarantees the right of the people to have due process and they shouldn't be in jail before trial? Do you know that? And they should say, no, I didn't know because I didn't read it. I just took an oath to the document and I know fucking nothing about it. I just follow orders. Well, speaking of which, since you say you take an oath to that Constitution, didn't you say defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Don't you think that these people are domestic enemies if they're violating the people's rights? Just say, you're on to something. That's not gonna happen. But that's what they should say.
So once somebody takes an oath and they basically violate that oath, is that something that you can use in court? That
Absolutely. And you can charge them with treason and or genocide.
Yeah, I think we should just start popping up two people because I think like I feel like it's worded like that for a reason. Like two people to the same work hat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like, look, you just go to the courtroom and just be like, whatever, we'll find the case law, whatever.
I have something better. We've been going to court for over a year and we have video footage.
That too.
So we don't gotta go nowhere.
Yeah, so it's like, well, you need to just.
We can go to federal court Monday. Gotta need nationality cards though and peasants.
Cool.
Everyone.
Oh, I'm alright. I'm good.
I know you're good. You ain't everyone though.
Let's go.
Alright, so
RV Bay after class.
that was just the first sentence.
Yeah, let's do it.
In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, which is jurisdiction, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, and to be confronted with the witnesses against him or her. So now, if you're in court, right, you have a gun on you, so you get hit with possession of a deadly weapon, who's the witness against you? You're a witness against yourself. You can't be, not according to the Fifth Amendment. So who's the witness against you?
My bad, I wasn't listening to
So,
you.
if the state of Rhode Island, so it would be state of Rhode Island versus you, is charging you with possession of a deadly weapon, who is the witness against you? How?
Because they're charging me.
With what?
Possession of deadly weapon.
Is that a crime?
No, it's not.
So how are they witness against you?
There's no witness against
Did-
me.
In fact, it's
Because don't you have the right to face your accuser, which is the injured party, which in order for a crime to exist, there must be an injured party. So if you have a gun, who did you injure?
There's nothing to witness.
There's nothing to witness.
Right.
That's like saying you got possession of a fork, okay, and possession of a spoon, okay, and
Your point?
I have the constitutionally secured right to bear arms.
But it is just like basically how they just trip you up on using the word. They basically getting you to admit to having a weapon, which is not the same thing as having an arm. So they just trick you up on basically the word.
Yeah, so guess what your response would be? I cannot be charged with possession of a deadly weapon because I have the constitutionally secured right to bear arms. And you know that.
So they just basically
They're basically making shit up,
yeah.
and we agree to it. That's it.
I know it kind of just remind me like what the prophet said basically on how they own bad planning.
Yeah.
Because they basically, what they do is, they bring everything into a realm.
Well, first of all, they're counting on your ignorance.
Right.
That's one.
Right. So that's the first thing they do. They count on your ignorance, but they can only do that by bringing everything into a realm of fraud. Because they taking your arm and they fraudulently identifying it as a deadly weapon or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they changing it.
But if you go to AmericanBar.org, you'll see that the prosecutors, just like the judges, are responsible for ensuring that your constitutionally secured rights don't get violated. Did you know that? So even the person against you has an obligation to the Constitution. Did you know that? So if they know you have the constitutionally secured right to bear arms, the judge and the prosecutor, and they say, well, the state of Rhode Island versus you, we're fucking charging you with possession of a deadly weapon. And you say, excuse me, I have the constitutionally secured right to bear arms, and I'm going to sue you for violating my rights. What do you think they're going to say? Case dismissed. Now, if all of our people that are facing gun charges, which is a lot of them, are making this argument, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to stop charging people with bullshit, aren't they? Then they're going to have to tell the police, hey, fucking deal with it. The people have the right to bear arms.
And that's how shit starts really changing.
Then guess what? All the guns that they stole, they got to return them. But they can't because they sold them.
So you're gonna have to be justly compensated.
Justly compensated.
Right, so that's basically it. So
And you should charge them for every day you didn't have your gun. Because your life, you could have died.
I've been borrowing my gun for a long time. Basically, or whatever it was. You've been borrowing it for a long time. You got late
You've been renting it from me for about 3 years, and you owe me
Plus interest and things.
$20 every minute. What else? I'll read it again. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial, which is 70 days, by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, which is prescribed jurisdiction, which is a delegation of authority, which is Article 3, Section 1 and 2, and to be informed of the nature and accusation of the crime, to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process to obtain witness in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. Counsel. Does that spell attorney?
No.
Does that spell lawyer? No, it doesn't. Does that spell bar member?
No.
No, it doesn't. Any questions on that? So that's criminal. The next one is civil. In all suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved. How much are parking tickets?
$75 at least.
$75. Is that more than $20?
Definitely more than $100.
So what do you have the right to?
Trial
Trial by jury. What about speeding tickets? How much are those?
$120 at least.
$120 at least? Is that more than $20?
About $100 more.
So what do you have the right to?
Trial by jury.
If you go to traffic court, how many people you think are taking this trial?
About 1 out of every 100.
Probably less than that. So how much fee out you think these people? How much money you think they're making? A lot. Right? Excessive bail shall not be required. Nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. Huh? What?
I had him rinse off his leg and maybe because his hair on it.
Need some milk.
It was too hot in the car in that second.
I'll read it one more time. Excessive bail shall not be required. What's excessive?
Overdoing it.
$1,000 is excessive if you ask me. $500 is excessive if you ask me.
I mean, wouldn't everything be considered excessive since there ain't no money in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Nor excessive fines imposed. So, how much is a speeding ticket?
At least 120.
Isn't that a fine?
That's definitely a fine.
Ain't that excessive?
That's definitely excessive.
Anything on 25. 25 minutes.
Nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. So, isn't it cruel and unusual for someone to be in jail before they had their trial by jury?
Yes, it is.
So why do we have thousands of people in jail awaiting trial?
Because our people perish by the day because of lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge.
Does that excuse the judges and prosecutors?
No, because they're deemed to know the law.
There you go.
Go ahead, ask me anything.
The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Which means what? Nothing written in this document, nothing not written in this document, shall be taken as to strip the people of any rights not mentioned. So if you have a right to fish, although it's not written in here, it's protected by this. right? The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or the people. Any questions? No questions?
Repeat that last part.
The powers not delegated to the United States by this Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people.
So that'd be basically like common law, right? It don't say nothing about common law name change in there, but that'd be like an example.
Yeah. This is Rhode Island's Constitution. Article 1, Section 6, search and seizure. The right of the people to be secure in their person, papers, and possessions against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon complaint in writing. So is a call in writing?
Nope.
Is over the radio in writing?
Nope.
But upon complaint in writing, upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and describing as nearly as may be, the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Article 1, Section 10. In all criminal prosecutions, accused persons shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusations, to be confronted with the witness against them, to have compulsory process for obtaining them in their favor, to have the assistance of counsel in their defense, and shall be at liberty to speak for themselves. Nor shall they be deprived of life, liberty, or property unless by the judgment of their peers or the law of the land. So, can they take your property without your peers saying, take his or her stuff? No. So even if you're found guilty of possession of a weapon, they can't just take it unless the jury says, oh yeah, take his shit or her shit. That's what the Constitution says, right? Trial by jury. The right of a trial, this is Article 1, Section 15. The right of a trial by jury shall remain inviolate. In civil cases, the General Assembly may fix the size of the petite jury to less than 12, but not less than 6. Article 1, Section 16. Compensation for taking of private property for public use. Regulations of fishery rights and shore privileges, not public taking. Private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. Oh look, the people shall continue to enjoy and freely exercise all the rights of fishery. So do you need a fishing license?
No.
The right to bear arms. Article 1, Section 22. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Simple.
Any questions?
That's what's
This is stupid
Can you
easy.
explain that?
What?
What do they mean by the right to bear arms?
All right. So, I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean by? What do you mean? So, an arm is anything that a man, woman, or child holds in their hands for their defense. Anything. By law, that's the definition. So, yeah, that's bearing arms.
I will fork you up.
That was a spoon. That hit your ear.
Any questions? 'Cause, I mean, just read the Constitution. That's the basic advice I can give you. Read it. Also, if you want, you can go to the State House of Rhode Island, speak to the Secretary of State's Secretary Nellie Gorbea, speak to her secretary. She's in the basement, I can't remember which room. And you can ask her or him, the clerks, any of those clerks, for any judge's oath. Anyone. Or not just any judge, any executive, judicial, or legislative official's oath, and they'll give it to you certified with a Rhode Island seal on it, where they said, "I take an oath to support and defend this Constitution, blah 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 blah, and bear all allegiance to the same." Which means if they violate that oath and they commit treason, they agreed, not me, they agreed that their punishment is death. That's what they agreed to. Exactly, that's why they say, "So help me God."
We need to start sending people to remind you. Like you remember that you stuck your neck out and you said that you could have your neck if you did that.
This is Article 9, Section 2. The governor shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. So if one branch of government is violating the Constitution, who do you go to? The executive branch. Because that's the governor's job. That's also the mayor's job on the city level. So if your constitutionally secured rights are being violated at the city level, who do you go to? The mayor. Right, you got three branches of government. Executive, which is in charge with what? Enforcing the law. The legislative, which is in charge with what? Writing the law, or creating the law. And the judicial, which is responsible with what? Interpreting the law. Right? Three of them exist for what? Checks and balances. So if one of them is violating the Constitution, you go to the other two to check the one. Right? If two of them are violating the Constitution, you go to the one to check the other two. Right? If they're all violating the Constitution, you go to your well-regulated militia to secure your freedom. If you don't have a militia, then what do? Wake the militia up. By doing what? Teaching the people about what? Their rights. And what else? How they're being violated. So that what? They can protect their own rights.
It's closed today, bro. Yeah, it's closed, bro.
You can come to class though.
We need to line up,
We'll go fuck ourselves. Any questions on that?
Spirit of free game. Free game in here. Free
I
game.
don't even want to see that. Y'all don't even know.
He said, "You're in here taking notes." Oh yeah, this ain't where I'm supposed to be.
No questions?
They got notebooks out.
None at all. Because that's basically it for today. We went over basic stuff.
Can you talk about trust?
Trust. The Constitution is a trust.
Yes.
There you go. What about trust?
Is it trust and agree?
It's
A
like
trust isn't-
securing your gold and all that. Like, how do you do that?
You can get a safe, you can bury it, you can hide it. I know someone that they have their gold and silver in another state, and like like if you go to like a park or whatever and they have lockers with keys, that's where they keep their their gold and silver. In another state at a like an amusement park or something like that they got the key to the locks.
I guess, and your AR-15.
You can get it safe, or you can just have it in your house, right? But a militia is a trust, because if the people are being violated, then the people are supposed to depend on the militia and trust them that, okay, we formed a community, so that way if you get violated, we're all showing up. If I get violated, all of you are showing up. If you get violated, all of us are showing up. That's trust. A trust consists of two, sometimes three parties, the grantor and the beneficiary, meaning someone who benefits from the creation of the trust. The grantor is the creator of the trust. Right? So, if this is the militia, we created it, so we're the grantor, and we benefit from it, so we're the beneficiary. Right? Now, out of us, we can elect someone to be the general or leader of the militia. That person is the administrator of the trust. Simple, right? Same thing with government. The judicial branch was created by the people, so the people are the grantor. And they were entrusted with interpreting the law for the benefit of the people. But since the people are also the creator and the beneficiary, the administrator has to listen to what the people say. That's trust. Another trust is, if we're at the bar drinking, right, and I say, hey, watch my drink, that's another trust. I made you the administrator of my drink, which benefits me, so I don't get drugged.
So it's really just an agreement.
It's an agreement, that's it. And it can be put on paper, which is what they call an express trust, or it can be orally, which is
This is
orally.
what it is. This is what we agreed to.
Or verbally, yeah. There's also divine trust, which when a man and a woman really love each other, and they love each other so much that a baby's created, that's called a divine trust. So all of you are considered a divine trust. Our parents were supposed to, via succession or inheritance, give us the responsibility of the family, whether it be their money or whatever it is. But since they got music to influence our family, they say, well, you can't take it with you when you die, so blow it. YOLO. So we ain't got shit. But if you go down to Cranston, right? Go down Broad Street, go to Cranston. You see they got no sidewalks because everyone got cars. And then they pass shit down to their children. It's called successorship or inheritance. When things are continuously passed down, that's called a living trust because it's still alive. That creates wealth. We don't have wealth because we don't do that. Trust.
We doing it now.
Because a lot of us, or a lot of our people, when their children turn 18, they get kicked out the house. Go struggle, which doesn't benefit anyone, except for the Europeans that are in charge.
Our people so bad.
That's trust.
No trust.
Any other questions about trust? We trusted our teachers to tell us information that's useful. They didn't. We trusted the government to protect us. They don't. We trusted the mayor and the city council and the legislative and the judicial branch and the executive branch to do their job. They don't.
And Al Sharpton.
So
Yeah,
now
we trusted our Sean.
And Jesse James.
That's
so now
exactly.
we need to trust our own community.
Now we just trust ourselves. Exactly.
I thought his last name was James. You know what I'm talking about. Dude with the S curl. In a nice suit.
Any other questions?
Oh yeah, James Brown.
Questions? Yes.
Adverse possession.
Adverse possession. What about it?
How do we go about claiming our own property back as a land?
Google search allodial title. Google it.
Gives up the
Allodial. What?
I read that and it said it gave up any title to any like superiority or something like that.
Yeah, that means there's no superior lord over your land. You don't owe them rent, taxes, or any other impositions or dues whatsoever. Allodial title. Look it up on Wikipedia. And someone volunteered to read it. Yep, Wikipedia is your friend.
Yeah, I know.
Get our land back, man.
Allodial title constitutes ownership of real property, land, buildings, and fixtures that is independent of any superior landlord. Allodial title is related to the concept of land held in allodium or land ownership by occupancy and defense of the land.
What was that last sentence?
By occupancy and defense of
Occupancy and what?
Defense. Oh,
Defense of the what?
the land.
Oh.
You gonna scare people with that one.
Okay.
So didn't it say in order for the security of a free state is necessary for a well-regulated militia? So now if you claim your land and the Europeans send 20 armed men to kick you out of it, was that your land?
No.
No,
But why?
because you couldn't defend it.
You needed 20.
If I say this is my phone and you take it from me and you say, nah, it's my phone, whose phone is it?
It's mine.
There you go.
Whoever pocket it's in.
Right? So that is called a claim.
You know how they go.
It's called a claim, right? And since we're at odds, that's an adverse claim. Right? So according to Rhode Island general laws, you can claim property that way. It's called adverse possession, based off of a claim, and based off you asserting your rights to that claim.
What kind of right?
Any right. Any right.
The allodial right.
It could be because you feel like it right. Well, because we're Moors is a birthright. But it could be because you feel like it right. Because aren't we divine beings?
Yep. I am.
I am. So doesn't God just do shit when he feel like it? I feel like fucking flooding the world today.
Let there be light.
Right?
What we trying to speak?
God said, oh yeah, let there be light. Oh yeah. Right? God does what God wants, right? Okay. So that's what that's what your claim could be based off of. Well, since no one's using this land, this house, this parking lot, this building that's been abandoned for years, I'm claiming it. We filed that at City Hall.
You have to militia, right?
Absolutely.
Question. So,
Yes.
in certain quote unquote states, it's 3 to 5 to 10 years, depending on whatever you claim that you could. They say you will own it. Or
Yep.
whatever. So what about defending it? If you could defend it from
So-
your jump, you got it from your jump,
so,
or do you have to wait?
The rights of indigenous people says we have the right to our land and resources back, right? What you just referenced is state laws from Europeans, right?
Yeah.
Which they're not from here, are they?
No.
Which means we're not subject to their laws, right? So do their statutory timelines apply to us?
No.
No, they don't.
So it's really just all off being actually
Competent.
being competent and actually willing to do something and
That-
doing it.
That's status. Yeah.
So, yeah. Because it's really not that complicated. You're not
It's
gonna
not.
like take your phone.
Banks do it all the time.
I wish-
Banks adverse possess property all the time. They make a claim. You defaulted. That's a claim. They bring you to court. They enforce their claim. And then they have armed men kick you out. So what do you think we should have?
The exact opposite.
The exact same thing. Our claim, paperwork to support it, and armed men and women to defend it.
Facts.
Big facts.
Tomorrow, some things and shit. Where the armed men at?
I got a couple arms. I got at least 2 arms.
Any other questions?
And she had a house.
Is it possible?
Why is it all like-
We all paying like rent mortgages right now. We ain't gotta do that next week.
Well, all businesses contract. Well, you're talking about without being subject to them. Yeah.
We got-
But I have a document. It's called the Allodial Declaration of Business, where you just file at City Hall. But it would be easier, not easier. It would have a greater impact if we had someone in office to enforce those things, as opposed to doing it as an individual. You can still do it as an individual, but I'm telling you right now, things are done easier, or things are easier when there's more people doing
Why don't you run for mayor?
it. No.
Have that discussion.
No.
He refused to take his grill off.
No. That don't matter.
No, I'm talking.
Right.
I'll be a mayor with a grill and a gun. I don't
I
care.
feel like that's easier nowadays anyway.
Yeah, you can get votes off of that.
The kids are gonna love it.
But
Mayor, where's your grill?
so look up.
Just the green.
Chinese shoes.
Hit me up on Instagram. I'll send it to you. It has everything you need in it. It has the UCCs. It has everything. I'll give it to you for free. You know, fucking, I don't lose nothing.
Free games.
I wrote it. It's my intellectual property. I can give it to whoever I want. Any other questions?
What's up with this flyer situation? Y'all kind of intimidating, man. The whole grill situation. That's not gonna help. I'm gonna have to do this on my own. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Hello, ma'am. How you doing?
what information do you want on it?
Huh?
What information do you want on it? Because there's a lot of information that could be.
maybe more of, I'm thinking like more of a like just to like to
Notify
invite
them
people-
about class?
Yeah, to invite people here. You know what I'm saying? So like
Come up with a design.
come up with a design.
Yeah.
Come up with a design.
Come up with a flyer, and then we'll make it happen.
Alright, man.
See that? Somebody wants something done. I suggest they do it, and then I offer help. Why? Because I'm one person and can't do everything. It's impossible. Right? And then our progress is based off of our own individual will. Right? So I'm never gonna come up with an idea and then put it on anybody. It's my responsibility, right? So I would expect the same fucking thing. I will help you in whatever capacity I can, but I'm not about to do nothing for nobody. Fair, right?
Respect.
We could all respect that, right?
Respect.
I don't expect you to sweep my house. So don't ask me to fucking do yours. Right, Quinn? Whenever you need help with
Right.
paperwork, I say, okay, let me see, right?
Yeah.
And then I help you, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna create it for you. Because if I create it for you, then what? They can say whatever they want about it, and you don't know what the fuck to say.
You actually crippling that
So
person.
now your rights don't even matter because you can't even stand on your own rights. So what's the point? Right? What's the point?
What about a form of, for our own sake, a form of like gatekeeping about how we, include people, whether it is to the class or to our.
So for me personally, information is for everybody. So anyone can come in here, no matter who it is. But as far as like who we want in the militia and things like that, that's different.
Alright, everybody know about the hunchbacker, you know what I'm saying? But the red name for Leonidas.
That has to be created amongst the people in the militia. Same thing for anything else. You know what I mean? If we have a political party, we want certain people within that political party with a nationality. You know what I mean? So that's right now. That's the only requirement. Declare your nationality. Because you ain't doing shit without a nationality. Any other questions?
How do we show value to the people so they can not want to, but to choose to? You understand that the process of what's needed to be done?
Once we show them our unity, they will come. It's human nature to be part of a group. That's why we got people joining gangs, or they're joining sports teams, or they're joining anything, church, because they need to be part of something.
That was my next point.
We're not providing anything for them to be part of.
How do we recruit? How do we flyers, go,
Are you tired of
go reels? How do we recruit not so much the right people, but our people? How do we go? What would be the best approach to start with? To start.
To start,
Yep, to start.
everyone needs a fez. That's the start. Because a lot of these Moors don't have fezes.
So fez is $45, $50.
I got an extra fez that y'all want to buy. I kind of just, I mean, I don't
So
like wearing
fez
the
is,
same fez, but
45.
y'all need fez, y'all need to hurry up and get a
So
fez.
fez is.
I got two of them I can sell. What's up?
Fez is $45
What's up?
to $50.
You gonna fit it. You can fit his
So,
head in.
A fez is $45 to $50. We all can agree. By next week we order our fez and bring your fez, correct?
Yeah, but they take a long time. I don't know if you got yours from the same spot. We said,
Let's talk about next
Yeah, we
week.
put our order in. It's so, it ain't been shipped yet. Yeah, we bought ours last week.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You up from that what is it, like Lauren or something?
Order at the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I got mine from there, and it took like I want to say 3 months.
3 months, 3 months.
For real?
3 months. They make them by
Oh
hand.
shit.
Yeah, they make them. They're like I want to say they made in Egypt, but they don't make them until they get your size, your measuring, and then they make them like
They make them by
then
hand.
they don't have like none sitting around.
So then we all step together. Shit.
Absolutely. That's what the Nation of Islam does, right?
Yeah.
Don't get mad. What they do works. They dress the same, they talk the same, they follow orders, they're in our people's face, and then they get what? Membership. let's not be mad at what works. We're just not doing it. And we have more reason to do it.
Yeah, they just kind of make it. Like I said, once you come into this knowledge, it's just kind of hard to look at somebody like that or a group like that,
Yeah.
knowing that they then basically sold out to an extent and even take anything from them. You know what I'm
Why
saying?
if it works?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's
Because if
just
the prophet said he's going to leave the Europeans here long enough for us to learn how to run government, and they're treating us like dog shit, then we could take, all right, the Nation of Islam, they look good. The way they stand up straight and erect. When they have events going on, it's the Nation of Islam providing security. Why don't we do the same thing? They got it from the Moorish Science Temple of America. They got it from Moorish Americans. They're in people's faces, giving them bean pies, giving them food and literature. In the people's faces saying, hey, you don't have to be a basketball player to make it out. And then they look good. That gives people reason. I want to feel as good as you look. Oh yeah, come to the temple then. Let's fucking straighten you out. But if we don't got people doing basic left face movements, right? We got people looking around when they're at the position of attention and laughing and shit like that. Well then, that's the results we're gonna get. And we only have ourselves to blame. So it's as serious as we are going to take this, right? Because you already know when I'm in militia shit, I'm joking around, but it's still fucking serious, right? So, however the extent of seriousness we're going to take this, that's going to determine where we go. And I'm not about to play no goddamn dictator. It is what it is. You ain't Marines. I'm not yelling at you like Marines, so don't get mad at me.
So what you do is it's gonna take for us to ask for that.
It's hey.
Because I feel like it shouldn't be, like I said, for the results that we gonna need. It shouldn't be like no shortcuts. Like I said, like
It's necessary.
I agree with that.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
necessary.
I agree with that.
So when they start taking it like boot camp or if that's whatever, like I said, the entry.
Yeah, but look, boot camp is voluntary.
All right. This
So
is voluntary.
class is voluntary. So I'm not gonna treat you like the militia because this is class.
All right.
But if it's militia time and I say you need A, B, C, D, and E, or be here at a certain time, or be ready, or no drinking and smoking, and then you show up drunk, all right, well, that's how serious you're taking it. So you don't get you get nothing from me. That's me.
Make perfect sense though. Like I said, but you the person who, like I said, you the only person that's been there, right? So you know, like you know what I'm saying. So it's like,
So that's why
make perfect sense.
that's why I say, like whenever I'm talking to Morris, if I say something, write it down specifically how I'm saying it. If I do something, do it specifically how I'm saying to do it, because I know. But I'm not about to speak to grown men and women and try to, okay, well, this is why I said do it. No, it's either you recognize that I know what I'm talking about, or you don't.
Right.
And if you say you do, but your actions prove otherwise, well, then that's what you get from me. Nothing. Tough love. I'm not here to hold nobody's fucking hand. We're all oppressed. So if I say, hey, we need to put someone in office, then guess what we should start thinking about? Either running or learning this information to teach someone so that way we can put someone in fucking office.
And that's why it's not one man's responsibility. It's our own responsibility to. We got a prime example right here. We learn every fucking thing that we can so that we can put it in implication like ASAP so that we can learn it, and then that we can go teach other people the same thing that he's doing with us. But it's not one man's responsibility.
Fact.
That's bullshit.
Facts.
That's bullshit. Now, everything that he knows is on YouTube. And we can train on it. Everything from the literature to the about faces to Vizio to Bamsis. Everything is on YouTube.
Overall.
And you're not getting yelled at.
And it's like really like
So it's a lot easier.
It's a piece of cake. It's like you sit in your own home, you sit on the toilet, you learn it at your will. We ain't got that time no more to sit on the toilet and learn it at our will. We need to like really like recruit. I want this thing to be so big. We in a fucking parking lot right over there because we ain't got enough chairs in here. We in a parking lot because we have recruited and we have shown people the value who they are, what they are, and what needs to be done. That's how I know that.
So, perfect example, right? When you invited the Moors over and you started teaching them what you know. That's what needs to be done.
Alright,
I didn't even know about it. That's fucking great.
awesome.
Now, if that can happen more, you know, it's unfathomable. Got that from Megamind.
What's the biggest value we can show people that so we can recruit them
Unity.
to the movement?
Unity.
They're not here right now. So how we get the unity?
Because we're not united. We need to unite. Once they see it, they're coming. Guaranteed. I can prove it.
What does that look like?
I can prove it.
Uniform,
This.
uniformity.
Doing it more, dressing the same, looking the same, talking the same. Look at the military.
So let's get those down.
Do you see anyone
Let's get those
different?
down today.
Huh?
Let's get those down today.
What?
Let's just we should set parameters right now. Get constructs in place. Let's do it right now.
We should take one of these Sundays that we get together here.
What's the dress code?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not just a Sunday.
What's the dress code? I
Like
need
they
this.
start wearing
What's
something
the,
to
yeah,
class?
what's the dress code?
Standard.
I'm wearing that.
Mission statements,
Yeah.
standards, and expectations.
I wear
Standards. Yeah.
either a suit or Morris garb. That's what I wear. Unless I'm at home, then I'm
We're
wearing
talking
Morris
about
garb.
like we're talking about uniform, right? So
Well, I have uniforms,
we're
but
talking
they're
about-
expensive.
All right.
For the militia,
We're talking about same color though. Uniform,
yeah, for the militia, yeah.
everything.
But just as Moors, like just coming to class, then just a suit or a Morris garb or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna expect you to buy the military uniform. Because we're looking at prices that are up there for that. I have all this shit. I already have everything fucking right now. I got all that shit.
We need
I'm just
to-
waiting for people.
We're ready for it.
All right.
Is that what you want to hear?
No, I don't want to hear shit. I want to see it.
We're ready for it.
And
Alright.
said,
You got the.
we got to show the people the value so they can see
Invite
it.
them to the militia Telegram.
Yeah. Alright.
Hey, I think
I think it's just man.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Because
not.
there's a 45-page document that I wrote of basic information. Basic.
Y'all got Telegram?
Yeah.
Telegram app? Download it real quick.
Download Telegram, folks.
I even have a packet on for our political party once we decide to move in that direction too. I'm ready, bro.
Yeah.
I've been ready.
We go into community sheet.
Huh?
Community recruiters.
What?
We go into the community.
Absolutely. Once we
Unite.
solidify our organization.
Hey, what's the name of that app? I mean, not the app, the site for the feds?
Lord or
Lauter.
one, yeah.
Leuter.
What is that?
Hold on, say this spelling.
Oh, you're trying to get service now? Actually,
Leuter.
Oh, yeah. Say it again.
You guys set times and when you guys run drills, when you train, or when we train.
Not really,
We got
because it's been on and off with a bunch of people. I trained a lot of people.
You see, it's blue and white. It's a blue and white logo.
So based on I do shit based off experience, right? The reason why I'm suggesting that we put someone in office is because based on my experience, I've been doing this for about 4 years. I see that's gonna be the most beneficial, have the greatest impact. That's gonna affect a lot of us in a positive way, as opposed to us doing it as an individual. The reason why I haven't said, all right, militia, do this on this day, is because the people that have been part of the militia, we've agreed to certain days to do other things, and they haven't showed up. So I realized, okay, this is what the people are giving me, so I'm not gonna address that point that much with these people. But now I see something different. If that's what y'all want, we can be y'all are gonna die. All right.
I know what you're speaking on. Piggybacking on what Tariq stated, no cut cards. We set the standard based off what people giving you. That's what we're programmed to give.
Mhm.
In the military, what you're used to, and this their standard is no. I'm your fucking daddy.
So here's the difference, right?
Yep.
When you go to boot camp, you willingly make that decision to go there. So whether they're yelling at you or not, you listen to what they say because you chose to be there.
Right.
So if you're gonna be part of the militia and I tell you to do something, I don't have to yell at you. You're there knowing you're getting information from me about this specific thing that you know nothing about.
So at that
You know what I'm
point,
saying? So there's no standard where I have to yell at anyone or say
that's where
anything.
falls.
It's
That's
just
where- that's where
it's
it falls.
either you're there or you're not.
I've been programmed so much. That's the reason why they do it in the military, because they know that we have to be instructed that way, the way the
Right,
military
like,
do
it's like
it.
it's a
It's,
subconscious
it's,
thing.
it's like a doorway. If you don't speak to me this way or treat me this way, treat me like shit. It's like even like with a woman.
Mhm.
You treat them nice and everything, they take advantage of you. You kind of like distance yourself from them. They like no one knows you type deal. It's like a doorway. It's like a doorway, and once that doorway is open, then it can be receptive. Great point. Great point. If we all of us start like taking it serious as fuck the way